What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another live episode of Dynasty Theory, only at DD Fantasy Football. I'm your host, John Bauer. Find me an X at the Bauer Club. You know I'm joined by Dan Lamani, and I'm still getting used to the handle at Coach Dan Dynasty. You know I always want to say Coach Dan Dynasty. What's going on, Dan?
Hey, man, pumped. It's 1 week from I get to do my Scott Fishbowl live. I know you guys are drafting right now, but I'll be live there in Philadelphia with Shane. So it's always fun, ribbing each other, Cowboys, Eagles. And it's also, so that's Sunday of next weekend. And then Monday is our episode number 300. I'm curious in the chat or after what our listeners want for episode number 300. We've been debating in the Discord, us three. Do you want a super special guest? A supermodel, fantasy whiz. I'm not sure.
Here we go.
Or a special topic. We need to know.
Dan, I think the DT guys here should just go shirtless. I think that would really drive viewership up.
It's an angle.
It's an angle, all right. An angle that nobody wants a part of. We also got Mitch Sorensen at Dino MC. What's up?
Yeah, SFB's done for me, so that's really nice. So hopefully I don't have another draft for the rest of the year unless it's like best ball underdog stuff. I'm hoping I am done drafting startups. That's like my goal for the next month.
Hey, dude, I'm missing you on the best ball streets. Like, come on, I'm waiting.
I'll jump in. Kids start football in 2 weeks. I'll do it then.
Big Diaz saying Coach Dan on OnlyFans. No, that's only Dan's.
Oh boy,
there we go. The
chat's ready tonight.
Viewership is about to skyrocket. Oh my God. All right. Well, speaking of skyrocketing, tonight we want to spend some time. What about that transition, boys?
Well done.
We want to spend some time talking about rookies that could certainly skyrocket here in year one. But first, we want to spend some time talking about Quinshon Judkins. Get your high level thoughts. Mitch and I, we just recorded about a 25-minute episode for Trending Fantasy, only talking about Quinshon Judkins, only talking about chaos and Dynasty Fantasy Football. That's going to be hitting the YouTube channel Thursday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern. So really, Dan, I want to put you on the spot here and get your thoughts. So we got the domestic violence arrest in Florida. More information came out today. How are you looking at Quinshon Judkins just overall from a Dynasty Fantasy Football perspective? Because I know you're a little bit more like, I don't want boneheads on my team. And that's how I phrased it in the episode of Trending.
Appreciate that, man. There's a lot of ways to take this, and I'll try to simplify it. With Judkins, like, we still need a little bit more information, but we've got, I think, a pretty good history of guys getting in some kind of trouble. And unless something really tips the scale, I mean, we're talking Dynasty. This kid hasn't even stepped on the field yet. More likely than not. Now, I don't know how fresh today's news is, JB. Today was a little bit of a busy work day. So if something tipped the scale today, please stop me. But based on what we know, like, I'm not drastically moving Judkins. Like, I wouldn't want to just dump him. I'm not definitely going after him. But he moved down a few spots in my rankings. And I guess my, like, deep take is, I want guys to be great. Like, we look at this rookie class, and hey, after Genty, Hampton, Henderson, I know we're going to get into rookies, more receivers tonight, but when you get those, after that upper echelon of rookie running backs, you're hoping to get the right one, and he hits and becomes a stud, maybe surprises and becomes a star. To me now, like Caleb Johnson, who I like this film, and RJ Harvey, who were all attracted to that situation in Denver, they're more attractive than Judkins right now, because at least I think their priorities are set going into camp instead of dealing with second year, the second round holdout that we know is going on top of the contract. He's got to deal with the off the field stuff, which is pretty heavy. I mean, it's pretty, not a light, speeding ticket.
Well, I'm going to stop you in the second round. RJ Harvey falls into that bucket too,
but he's not in trouble. So, I mean, you got like a double whammy with Judkins is what I'm saying there. Now I got two things I got to worry about as a Dynasty owner that I'd rather not. If Caleb, Harvey, and Judkins were right next to each other, I've officially put Johnson and Harvey above Judkins. And I like Henderson above him going into the draft.
Frank, always appreciate you, man. I think you're in the chat from start to finish every single week. Love you, man. Love you. But he says Harvey and Caleb over Judkins for me easily now. And this is where I am. I'm not buying or selling. Wait and see for me, Frank also says. And that's kind of what we were talking about on the episode of Trending that and I don't want to keep talking about it, but that we just recorded, where previously in a past life, I was much quicker to make a move involving these players, especially if it, the situation we had talked about was the Tyreek Hill situation a few years back, and nothing ever happened with it. Not to say nothing's going to happen with this one from a disciplinary perspective, because hell, we don't know how the NFL looks at these things situation to situation. It seems like they just throw a dart at the board and say, okay, that's the suspension right there. So we'll see how that plays out. But
just quick question. Do you guys have many Judkins shares, and have you received any offers?
I am at 9%. So a decent amount, even though it's only 9%. Okay. And I have gotten some offers, not horribly lowball offers. Mitch sent me an offer. I know Diaz, who was in the chat, he sent me an offer. And again, like, not offers that I would post in the trash trade channel, but I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to feel the situation out. We saw somebody in the Discord, they moved Cam Scattaboo in a 26-second for Quinshaw Judkins, but then somebody else, the minimum price was Scattaboo in a first. So it's kind of similar pieces, but there's, anytime you see something like this, and there's a very quick changing perspective and potential value shift, it's all over the place. So Mitch, what about you? Oh, we got somebody on mute.
He's a mime.
My bad. You guys were going for so long, I just thought I'd fall asleep for a second. But what I was gonna say is, I don't send me. Yeah, I tried. So I did a lot of Monty for Judkins. I did Swift. I did Scattaboo with some picks added on, that sort of stuff. But here's my thing. This is just gonna lay it out. I don't think Judkins being on or off your dynasty team really matters, to be honest. I don't think he is going to be an elite enough asset this year to really move that points per game needle for you. And if you are having to move, before this happened, you were having to move a 26 first for him minimum, right? It's not a move I was willing to make, because I don't think points per game wise and him compared to the other running backs we've already mentioned, he was going to outperform them. So for me, I wasn't making that move in the first place. So I'm seeing it on a little bit of I'm more willing to sell, and I was only willing to buy for like the Scattaboo price or a David Montgomery price. That's it. I'm not going up from there at all. And honestly, right now, I don't even know if I'd move Scattaboo straight up for him. I know. Hot take. I know.
Oh, I would. I would. Ryan and a few other people here are we moving Samson up. I mean, what is the... whenever yes, more information needs to come out still, and
yes,
it's still very early in the process. And I made a joke, like putting my lawyer hat on, because clearly I have no background in law. But like, what's the max here that we could be looking at realistically? Six games? Like, when I don't know. Like, so how much of an impact should that make? And should Samson be moved up? I know a lot of people hate Ford. They prefer Chevys.
Yeah, I think if anyone's rankings, like Samson might be bumped up a few spots in the rankings over some guys maybe in that similar tier, but nothing significantly that I think changes his market. So,
okay. But for me, and it's a boring answer, but it really is, like, unless I see an owner panicking, like Mitch, you said, you sent offers out, not the best of offers, but like feelers, like the Montgomery for Judkins, just to see where they are. But then if they're looking for, like, and I'm not saying Jankowski, who made the comment in the chat earlier, is like this, but let's say they come back and they're like, I want Monty in a first. Well, is that really a different price point from where it was before anything came out? No. So it's such a boring answer, and it's being price dependent, but I'm kind of in a wait and see situation. I don't see this as a player that you're going to look back in a year and say, oh man, why didn't I make the trade for him? Or why didn't I dump him? Like, again, it's a boring answer, But I don't think you're gonna really be regretting. You're not gonna be regretting. You're not gonna be regretting it one way or the other. Ultimately.
Yep. Agreed.
Judkins could be out of the league, guys. We have no idea how bad, if true, these charges are. Could be. I mean, like I said, there is such a wide range of outcomes. Like, we're all guessing.
This is Frank's take is kind of my take on the whole situation.
That's where you are.
It's
Mitch.
going to be a running back by committee on a horrible offense. And it's kind of how I look at it too.
And history tells us he won't be out of the league unless something really.
Yeah, no, he won't be out of the league.
You know. I mean, we've seen Kareem.
I hope it's Ford season because I'm over 20% of Jerome Ford. I am heavy on Ford. All right. Well, all speculation at this point, but it's always interesting because anytime something happens, hey, I gotta buy low, or I don't want anything to do with this asset now because something's come out, and then there's people that are kind of wait and see. So there are three different views, perspectives of this, and just trying to figure out where you are, how much conviction you have, and then run with it. I think really.
And remember, JB, a wise man 299 episodes ago said something about the dysfunction in Cleveland. Nothing has changed there, right? They continue to draft high character players, and let's see where that gets dynasty owners.
I mean, really quick, and I see the really quick, and I see the comment Ray Rice being somebody that was out of the league.
Great example.
I mean, but at that point, he had 600 yards that last season.
He was washed, though.
Well, and just remember, the NFL only wanted to suspend him for 2 games. And then there was video too. Came out. And then they were like, oh, no, now we're really going to suspend him. And they saw that video prior. They only went for the more games after the whole public saw the video. So that whole Ray Rice situation was, that was some 2010 NFL stuff right there.
All right. Well, I love the diverse looks and takes whenever we look at the chat. And again, I could say this every single episode, and I think I might, but that's why I love doing the live shows, because just the thoughts and the discussions bouncing back and forth. But we do have some other rookies we want to talk about. Dan, I want to start with you here. Outside of Ashton Genty, who do you believe has the best chance at finishing rookie running back 1 or 2?
This is like a layup here to me. I mean, I think it's just clearly Omarion Hampton and nobody else.
So it's not Quinshon Judkins for you.
It is definitely not Quinshon Judkins. Travion Harrison would be my dark horse.
I'm a big fan of Harrison too. I'm a big fan of him.
Oh, sorry, I'm moving
that
around a little bit.
Good.
Travion Henderson, my bad. But I think he'd be my dark horse to be, 3, with a outside shot at number 2. But I just think Hampton, overall talent, closest thing to Genty, ideal situation on a contending team, and that Harbaugh.
Time really quick. I hate to interrupt, and I'm sorry, but I see the comment about Darius Geis being somebody who's out of the league. Dude tore his ACL 1 year, then tore his meniscus the next. Anyway,
deep, man, we're digging deep, boys.
Anyway,
we got the research team in the chat there. I love it. But yeah, no, to me, it's just clearly Hampton has the best shot to be number 2. And then Henderson's my number 3. Keeping an eye on Johnson and Harvey, but I think Dobbins eats too much into Harvey. I think Jalen Warren's better than Caleb Johnson, where I think Henderson's better than Ramondre Stevenson, and Hampton's definitely better than Najee Harris, and the best overall talent outside of Genty. So I think it's just kind of clear cut for me at the running back position.
I agree. I agree that Hampton is better than Najee. Will the coaching staff care enough for that to matter, though?
I think the talent will
coaching
will
staff
rise.
are going to
though.
love Najee Harris, man. They're going to love him.
Hampton's just so good, Mitch.
He is.
Like,
I agree.
And Najee liked the fireworks a little bit too much on my birthday. I think, that we'll see how that factors in to start the season and here in camp.
So I went Travion Henderson. The reason why I went him, Stevenson had 7 fumbles last year. He's had 14 in his career. The last coaching staff did everything they could to replace him, but they just didn't have anybody to replace him with. I think Henderson has legit 3 down upside, although he's probably only going to get 250 touches. What did I say, John? I saw you smirk there. Did I say something?
I was just gonna. I mean, well, he's never been a 3 down back before, Mitch. So why is it going to change now?
No, yeah. He has the upside. He's fine. But it's like he's not going to go out. I think Hampton has by far the best ceiling because he could actually go out and get 320 touches if anything happens to Najee. I think even if something happens to Stevenson, Henderson's still only going to have 250 touches. But I think the pass catching upside is there with Henderson to where Hampton, who really knows in that offense with Roman. And so I went Henderson, but I agree. It's him and Hampton. And then for me, it's everybody else is after those two.
All right. In the chat, is there anybody else that you're looking at that could hit these top 2, let's say, this year? And then realistically, does anybody, barring an injury, knock on wood everywhere, barring an injury from Ashton Genty, is there anybody that dethrones him this year? Forrest coming in with Caleb Johnson. Obviously, you talked about Henderson, talked about Hampton. I mean, RJ Harvey not getting the love, Mitch.
I love the guy. It's just, does he really have a chance of finishing running back 2 as far as rookies go? I would love for him to. I just don't think it's probably going to happen.
Yeah, and then every year we get some like random dark horse running back that kind of comes out of nowhere. I mean, I think the fun one and the popular one up until maybe the last few weeks was Bashal Tuin.
Yeah, Tuin, without a doubt.
He's gonna take over that backfield, and ETN's like not so fast. I
don't think it's gonna happen. Sorry, if someone was to come out of the blue deeper in my rankings, if again, I don't believe this. I'm kind of drinking a little bit of the Kool-Aid of Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders, but a lot of people think they stink. And if they're right, does a Jaden Blue come out of the woodworks and because of an opportunity?
I see Dr. B saying Samson, Anahola drinking that Woody Marks Kool-Aid. Go saying Maulings could be the dark horse, but nowhere near Genty. It's like have you seen any conversation where it's like, I'm kind of down on Genty, guys?
No, that's the thing. There's another question coming up is either of these two, is any of the backs we mentioned going to come close to Genty? And the answer is no. I was looking up some Mike Clay projections. He has them for a little bit over 18 points per game. And all the rest of the backs are really close to 14. And so just off the top of your head, guys, if you want, that's like a CeeDee Lamb compared to Garrett Wilson type projection. I mean, you're like elite. And then we're happy with you, but you're not anywhere close to CeeDee Lamb type of play.
CC says Genty has been hanging out at Applebee's. If it was possible for him to rise up my rankings,
that would be it.
He just did because of Applebee's. Whew. Okay, so obviously the popular backs there, the higher end ones, it is going to be interesting because we see this all the time with those running backs in clusters that are tiered together. And this year, a lot of it's going to be Hampton, Henderson, even though we had the Judkins talk. Like if Judkins comes out, let's say he's suspended 6 games or whatever the case may be, but then he comes out and averages 15 points a game. Nobody's going to care about the suspend.
No,
nobody cares then at all. I'm just looking through the comments here. To Mostert being his only real competition is nice. Not that he's a slouch, but let's go Genty. I see some Geno hype, I think. I love Geno. But yeah, there are going to be value shifts in that middle bucket there after Genty. And we're going to see guys flip-flop and every which way. And there's going to be somebody probably that falls into that 16 point per game range that kind of solidifies themselves as the running back too in this class. And it's not going to be so clumped together. So it's going to be fun to see how that plays out.
Yeah, Genty, the biggest question is, sorry, I thought I wasn't ready for that segue, JB. JB, you're at a slower pace tonight. I thought,
dude, I feel it. My brain is just fried today, guys.
We got you, buddy. We got you.
You can
So,
see it in my hair.
it
Like
happens.
there's no
It
glasses
happens.
tonight.
Yep.
See, our listeners know, like John and Mitch knows, like John's word count is normally super fast, so he goes right to that segue. Whenever I hear like potential dead air, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just insert something so
like,
there's no
I'm
dead
in.
air.
Yep.
You know, so it's like Genty, the more concern is, instead of comparing to the rookies, is does he finish in the top 5, 6, or is he more like 6 to 12 if that Raiders O line, you know, that's your hope as a Genty owner. He could be top 6 and not 6 to 12.
So really separating himself, obviously, from that next group that we talked about. Moving over to the wide receiver position. Mitch, let's start with you. This one is not so straightforward.
No.
Who is going to be your rookie wide receiver one? And I want to look at this two ways. Who's going to be your rookie wide receiver one from a production standpoint in 2025? And then does it force a shift in dynasty value? And again, a lot of that has to do with the baseline of these players when they come in.
I'm typing something in really quick just so I can have it on the top of my head while I'm talking. So mine is Ted McMillan. He is the wide receiver that could have a 25% target share. I think walking into camp, he doesn't need injuries for it to happen. He's just going to walk in and he can be that guy. I think very easily you could slot him in. At worst, he's a wide receiver 3, but he has legit wide receiver 2 upside this season. We'll talk about the other guy here in a little bit that I think could be there. And I've just grown on Tet more and more and more and more the further that we get away from, the rookie prospect hype when we're debating all these players and everything. No, I'm going to keep calling him Tet because T-Mac to me is hard. Like, I'd rather just call him McMillan than T-Mac, right? It doesn't work for me at all. I'm sorry.
Hey,
I'm old like Dan.
When his mom watches the show, Mitch, JB and I are not dealing with Mama McMillan, all right? It's all you,
Look,
just for the record.
This is like when the, what's his name? The running back from Tampa Bay didn't want to be called Muscle Hamster. I'm sorry, he's muscle.
Doug Martin.
Yeah, Doug Martin. He's muscle, and that's just how it is. I'm sorry. This is the life.
I loved Doug Martin. I feel like I had his redraft all the time.
Yeah. But anyways, that's who I am. I mean, and I'm very firmly in the T-Mac camp now.
Here's an interesting comment from CC. Are we going to get, and obviously talking about McMillan, talking about Hunter, Igbuka, some of these other guys that were the first round picks, or Jaden Higgins, who had the fully guaranteed contract, so he's good. But are we even going to get later breakouts from these second round rookies who miss important training camp reps? Like, developing that rapport, though, it's important. It really is. And then Dan, you were kind of joking, like, or maybe it was Mitch in our group chat. You're like, what if we just get holdouts from everybody?
Yeah, why is it only like we're only talking about the second round rookies right now? The third round rookies can do the same thing. It's not like there's just a bar to where only the second round rookies are going to hold out. Maybe the third rounders do too.
All interesting.
My UDFAs take a stand.
There we go. Yep.
Stand for those UDFAs, JP. I love it. Man, but first, I'm going to challenge Mitch on the Tet take there. T-Mac.
Well,
I'm on Travis Hunter is my number one wide receiver there. And I like McMillan. I see your angle with him, and I know there's questions of how much he plays on each side of the field. But I think when we went into that draft and everything we heard from NFL teams, scouts, GMs, it was Genty and Hunter as generational players. And then there was like the tight ends, Warren and Loveland is highly sought after. And then there was McMillan. So I just think the talent's higher for Travis Hunter, and he would be my clearly number one. And even if I was wrong, because maybe you have something there, Mitch, with production and volume, it just by designing that Carolina offense year one, I think long term I would want Hunter, and I'm okay losing a few points just this year. And then for the second round guys, man, they hold out. Like, not everybody's as ready as we would like. So they really need those camp reps. Now, some guys will need it more than others. Some guys pick up a playbook quicker. Some guys block better right away, timing with the quarterback, that kind of thing. But Could we see delayed production and guys stepping up in that second round later? We most certainly can. But, a little bit of what I have been hearing, Mitch, is it is a specific second round thing. There's no precedence for the third round. We have two second rounders.
The chat is already corrected me. They're all signed. So I was just saying stuff for absolutely no reason there because all the third rounders are already signed.
Yeah, they're signed.
So.
I love when they jump down your throat, Mitch. Love
it. I prefer it. It's good. It's better them do it than you, to be honest.
All right. So you're saying McMillan. Right now, he's wide receiver 13.
Yeah.
On Fantasy Calc. Travis Hunter, wide receiver 16. Egbuka, wide receiver 20. Dan, you have Travis Hunter as your wide receiver 1 this year, right? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah, he's my rookie number 1.
How do you see those 3 being valued? And it's always hard, right? Because you have incoming rookies next year that will be coming in. And I know even though a few people, many people are not thrilled about the 2026 class at this point in time, but you still have a few guys that will be coming in that people will be oohing and ahhing over. So when you look at McMillan, Hunter, and Egbuka, if you want to throw him in, just because they're the 3 highest valued rookies right now on Fantasy Calc, where do you think they are a year from today?
I'm steadfast with Hunter as number 1, and there being a little gap. I see that Chase Higgins and Brian Thomas and Travis Hunter. I just love the talent. Now, obviously, Trevor Lawrence has got to take a step to get there, but then I'd pull the other guys a little bit closer. Buka, like the more this offseason is going along, and I think about that Tampa Bay situation, I think about Mike Evans being a little closer to retirement, and maybe Godwin taking a little bit longer to get to full health. I think McMillan and Buka are going to be pretty close, 2A, 2B, and the Matthew Golden disrespect, man. Even though the chat will probably hammer me for this, I still think he belongs in that conversation.
So how high overall? How high do you think Travis Hunter can get wide receiver wise?
How high could he get, or how high do we think he's going to get?
If Dan's saying he's the clear cut wide receiver 1 out of this class, the other guys, are kind of mixed in. How high can he really get? That's the problem because for me to look right now, you have Chase, Jefferson, Neighbors, Lamb, Thomas, St. Brown, Puka, Drake, Nico, Marvin Ladd-ish, and that's wide receiver 10, and he's almost there already.
Yeah, I think you would be sprinkled in that wide receiver 10-ish range, but it does look like in general there's kind of that tier break between the 10 and 13 range. There is that gap.
Yeah, and I think there's some of these guys, we see it. There's some guys that are going to move out at some point, right? Don't know when, or maybe they don't move out, but like Hunter, I think he's a better overall over time. Like once he becomes an NFL player, will be better than McConkey. I think he could be better than Garrett Wilson. I think AJ Brown's going to age. I think he could be better than Drake London. Nico will eventually get a little bit older here soon. So I think there's top 5 potential for Travis Hunter. Not right away.
Ooh. I like how at this point Dan is just telling us how aging works, and he's like, a year from now, AJ Brown will be 1 year older than he is now.
I'm just saying, in 2-3 years, some of these top 10 guys aren't going to be top 10 guys because of age, because of injury, because of a team situation. I think I could see Hunter having that ceiling.
I could actually see him having. I just saw that comment. Having a really good year, because have you guys looked at the Jacksonville Jaguars depth chart? It's not great after. So you have De'Ami Brown as wide receiver 3. Then you have Cephas there in Washington. It's not even a good Cephas. And then Brenton Strange and no one after him at tight end. And we've already talked about on the show a month ago how much Brenton Strange just isn't going to demand targets. So like Hunter is going to have every opportunity to be a 20 to 25 target share kind of guy. It's just, how are they going to use him? Because everything I've said, they've been a little wishy-washy on what they're going to do with him exactly.
I think the cream rises at the top. He's so explosive. And how can't you feed him the ball? To your point, Mitch, after him and beat Brian Thomas, it's thin. I think Diami will make some plays. He'll have a little role, but nothing that's going to dip into their big time fantasy production.
We do have a few questions here from the chat. And I always apologize in advance. I know I'm going to butcher names, but Kaina. I'm not going to try to pronounce the last name. But what's up, guys? My team is very old and decided to rebuild in my 1 quarterback 12-team PPR Dynasty League. I traded DK, I'm assuming Derrick Henry, Adams for 106, 108, 109. Thoughts? And who should I look to target at those picks?
I think that's all fair. I think if you're going from old to
that's
young,
fine.
that's probably best case scenario, to be honest. I think that was a good trade. And who to target? Just
because even with it being only a 1 quarterback league, you're missing out on Cam Ward in that 105-ish, 103, 104, 105-ish range. You're missing out on Jackson Dart at the 112, 201 range. So really, these are just getting pushed back kind of one spot. And give me a first for Adams, a first for Henry, DK, that 106. I like this trade a lot, especially if looking to get younger and restructure here. So, targeting with these picks, I'm assuming the rookies that are coming in, who would you be looking to take here? So like Genty at the 101. I'm also assuming there's no tight end premium here. Do you think that's fair? So it pushes the value.
That's the $1 million question I'm asking right now. Is there a tight end premium? If not, you have the potential of Ibuka.
Well, you could get Caleb there, Ibuka. Golden will be there. Another one of the running backs will be there. I think you're fine.
And I'd be curious what his tight end situation is.
Same.
Do you still like Loveland could be like a wide receiver over time?
I'm not taking Loveland or Warren at 108 or 109 personally.
We will be getting to that later in the show. Maybe.
I know. Okay. So
maybe.
You probably can get Judkins now at 106.
Yeah, I bet you can. I guarantee. I would probably say the 108. You have a decent chance.
So if it's going to go Genty, Hampton, Travis Hunter, McMillan, RJ Harvey, Henderson, Judkins. So it's probably Harvey or Judkins or Caleb Johnson if your heart desires at that 106. Snag the other one at 108. And then you could make the case for Ibuka at that 109. Easy. I think that's the way I go.
Yep. Same.
So that was for Kaina, and then Matt, good looking out there. And then Matt also has a 1 quarterback start 8 question. Looking through this roster, we have Jaden Daniels, Patrick Mahomes, Ashton Genty, Bijan Robinson, Malik Neighbors. Matt, you've dropped this roster on us before, and I think you're just showing off a little bit with some of the talent here. But Genty, Bijan, Neighbors, Marvin Harrison, Rice, Downs, Diggs, likely Strange. What's the strategy going forward? I got 2 firsts and a 27 first. While it's probably not tight end premium, I would still love to look up. It's going to be tough to get Brock, but see what that price point is on McBride, because he's still a difference maker.
No, that's my take on it too. That's the first thing I would do, is try to get off of Likely and Strange, use those picks to get a lead at the tight end position, especially in a start 8.
And we do see these leagues, and sometimes in these loaded rosters, it is hard to make moves. He might be a little, confined in what he could do. And, teams don't want to get off Brock, and they don't want to get off McBride. So that's one where I say, hey, who's that next tight end on your list? Does he get a Loveland or Warren and just gets young and talented there?
Sam, why you got, I'm just going to say that 3 months from now, I'm already obnoxious. You guys never even mention Sam Laporta as an actual tight end anymore. It's not just you guys.
I like Laporta.
It's the whole fantasy community. He is the tight end 3, and there isn't one even close to him after that. Sorry. Go ahead, guys.
Hey, you'd be proud of me, Mitch, though, because I have a lot of Detroit stacks in best ball, because there's some good value on Laporta, and you pick late in the first round, and you get Sun God, so then you start stacking those Lions. So there's some love for Laporta for you.
All right, so this is kind of the middle ground. Back to Judkins a little bit here, but from Joe, 2 seconds for Judkins. Whether it's super flex, 1 quarterback, 12 team, 14 teams, I'm sending those picks away for Judkins. I don't care if they're stacked in the 26 class. I don't care if they're in the 27. I don't care if you get one of both, one of each.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the middle ground because Mitch, we talked earlier on Trending about you not wanting to send a first. And I said, if I presume to be a late 26 first, I know we're always very good at projecting where our picks are going to be, and they're never going to be early. They're always going to be late, always going to be 112, but I don't hate that either still. So 2 seconds for Judkins. I'm still taking Judkins.
Hey, got another one.
Frank, appreciate you, man. Traded Marvin and Achane for Brian Thomas and Derrick Henry, defending my title, and don't believe in Marvin. Roast me.
I think Brian Thomas Jr. and Henry is the better value, to be honest.
I
more than
can't
happy
roast
to
you.
take that. Yeah.
That's the side I would take. And I mean, you look at Henry, obviously, as Dan told us how aging works. He's going to be a year older a year from now. And then you look at the polarizing side and Marv and Achane, very divisive players. A lot of people don't think that Marv's ever going to take, well, at least immediately here, take that next step because of the relationship and the way that Kyler Murray plays. And Achane, well, people don't like that Dolphins offense. We talked about it last week, I think, Mitch. And with Achane, he's too small. He's not going to hold up, you know? So I think it's a very fair trade if looking to get off of Henry to get younger in general. Achane, certainly a more flippable asset there at the running back position. But I also lean the Brian Thomas Jr. side.
So my case for Frank, all right, because he's calling me ageist over there. My case for him is I respect his conviction. Like, I truly do love that. Like, he doesn't believe in Marvin. I do believe in Marvin. Like, so that's what makes this tough for me. I'm a Marvin Harrison guy, but I think in Dynasty, like, I love when someone has their guys and they have their takes and they're not just listening to everybody else. And so I love his conviction and that, hey, he's not convinced on Marvin. He likes Brian Thomas Jr., who's also a superstar and could be a lot better. So if Frank's right, man, he's getting the premier receiver here. And, you know, maybe it's a little higher money league or something like that. He's looking for a nice Christmas coming up. And, hey, the Ravens and King Henry, there's no reason, even though he gets older in a year, John, I could see go for it now and get my receiver piece. I like the other side personally, but I see why Frank did it, and I respect his conviction.
All right, so looking at back to the wide receiver conversation, always appreciate the questions that come in. Appreciate you guys for the super chats. Looking at the wide receivers again, kind of talked about how we're feeling about Travis Hunter kind of post hype after it's settled. There was, you know, all the positive blurbs, and now, well, it not really being talked about all that much right now. But the best NFL round 2 or later rookie wide receiver trade for right now, Mitch, who do you got?
I had a hard time with this. As you guys know, in the notes, I went back and forth. Should we do round 3 or later? I ended up going Jaden Higgins because I really don't love this wide receiver class. I just don't. I wanted to say Kyle Williams, but I'm like, I mean, I'm just reaching at that point. So I'm going Jaden Higgins because when you bring up the Houston Texans now, the first thing I think a lot of people will think about, and they will in the next month, is how bad that offensive line is. Like, it's ranked the worst in the league. Whether it ends up being that way or not, that's what everyone's going to be talking about, is how bad that offensive line is. And so you see that they have the geriatric running backs with Mixon and Chubb. I mean, just like the line isn't going to open holes, and they're old. So the only issue that I have is Christian Kirk is there, and I think he's going to be stealing some targets. But I think Higgins is so good. Like, everything I saw on his tape, I loved everything about him. I think Stroud's actually going to bounce back this year, even if that offensive line is bad. And like I said, like, when I go down that wide receiver list and I start looking at names, I'm like, maybe this guy could hit 8 points per game, but I don't see there are a lot of guys that are going to hit 10 this year.
We see the comment from Gogo. Higgins for Pacheco just happened today. I want Higgins.
Same.
Although I think Pacheco is going to have a really good year, but if we're talking dynasty, I mean Higgins is the right answer. And I think Mitch, your answer is correct. I think with Jaden Higgins, I mean, I'd say Houston's probably one of the most intriguing teams for dynasty this year because we all, have our investments in Stroud and Nico, and they have these potentially exciting rookies. And I think, D'Amico Ryans and their new offensive coordinator, Nick Haley, are going to be geniuses if they could get something out of this offensive line because it's potentially the worst one in football, and they let their best lineman go. But Higgins, I liked his film going into the draft. Steve Smith liked him. His landing spot was good, and he's the only guy signed. Like he's literally the only like they broke precedents. I imagine owners really got to be ticked off at the Texans ownership. Yeah. Like they got to be like, dude, what are you doing? Like you can't call us and like before you make this deal. So
the collusion across ownership obviously didn't stretch into that territory.
It didn't hit Houston.
But like we're looking right now at Judkins, Travion Henderson, receiver Burden, Tyler Show, Mason Taylor, Terrence Ferguson, Arroyo, Trey Harris, Beck, Harvey. That's a lot of good guys in the second round that I hope they don't miss too much camp. We'll see how it plays. So I think Higgins is definitely the right answer. And I'm with you, Mitch. Like I'm a little intrigued by some sleepers in the third round. Kyle Williams, Pat Bryant, I think is really interesting in Denver. He has a great opportunity there behind Cortland Sutton. I think he could truly become the number 2 receiver there this year. And then I'll throw in a fourth rounder and Arian Smith for kicks with the Jets. Again, I think there's a little bit of an opportunity and some Georgia talent there.
And it's so hard to ever sit here and project these day 3 wide receivers because ultimately none of them
be one will.
Yeah, I mean at least something.
Yeah,
but
exactly. There'll be one.
Well, I got the next Puka Nacua right here.
Yeah.
And realistically, well, won't even come close, but we can hope. That's what the offseason is for. The hope and dreams, and that's what we can do right now.
I just like how the closer we get, we can look more as like you ask us in June about these rookies. Well, we're excited for them. We love where they're going. We love a lot of stuff. And now we're starting to get into the point scoring season to where it's like, well, how do these rookies actually stack up against the vets that cost like a third of the value? And you can see it's turning. It's not there yet, but it's starting to turn.
We talk about this all the time. If you're in a January startup, if you're in a March startup, a May startup, whenever it's like prime rookie territory versus August, there is that slight shift. There is that shift because you get closer to point scoring season, and just in your mind, you still want value, you're still accumulating value, but now you're really looking at filling that roster. Even though some people, nudge, nudge, they look at that starting roster in January and they're like, I want to fill it now.
That's right.
Not much to talk about, at least we don't think, from the quarterback position. No. Do you have any interest, Dan, in trading for Cam Ward at his current price, at his current value? Let's say +6, -2 scoring. He's quarterback 17. On Fantasy Calc, wedged right in between Brock Purdy and Trevor Lawrence.
I don't. I mean, and it's not that I don't like Cam Ward. I do. Yeah. But, I'm not big on the Titans, and it's really hard to take them over. I'd just rather take whoever I get in that tier. I'm a little higher on the opportunity for Lawrence. I love Michael Penix's opportunity. I think he could potentially break out. Bryce Young's rising. McCarthy, we'll see. Brock Purdy's solid. The Niners could be sneaky this year. So it's tough to trade for Cam Ward. And when you have one of those guys, again, I liked him in the rookie drafts this year. I thought he was, a guy that could kind of solidify your quarterback position in Dynasty, but I got him ranked 21st in my ranking. So it's tough to really, and I don't see him as like a high ceiling where he's going to pass a lot of guys. So it makes it a little hard to get excited about.
Yeah. Just the names I mentioned, and Kyler Murray on Fantasy Calc right above Brock Purdy, there needs to be a bigger gap. Like they should not be tiered together when you look at Kyler Murray, Brock Purdy, Baker Mayfield, and Cam Ward. And it's not so, I I guess it is a little anti-Cam Ward, but give me those other pieces, and you're telling me I can potentially do that 1-for-1. I have no problem with that. So really, there's not one league that I'm looking at. It doesn't really matter what my roster construction's like, and I'm like, I need to go out and set an offer for Cam Ward right now.
My best way,
there's no reason for that manager to send him to you at any type of a discount. And they're probably higher than market because they ended up with a Cam Ward.
the reason I would want Cam Ward is to avoid the Aaron Rodgers, the Colts situation, the Browns situation, the Giants situation. That is why I would want Cam Ward, to avoid those guys at the end of my dynasty rankings that I am not touching.
Yeah, for me, I'm okay with where I drafted him in my rookie drafts. I'm not sad that I have shares of him. But if you're asking me right now, if I have a team that I think can make the playoffs, give me Geno for literally half the price. Give me Bryce for 70%.
Less than half the price.
Exactly. I mean, I would much rather have them than pay up for Cam Ward at this point. This isn't because I hate Cam Ward. It's just how I think the season's going to play out, points per game wise.
Here, I want to pull up a few. StreamYard changed the things around here.
They did. And
the way it looks, and you know me and change. We usually go very well together.
I don't like it either.
But let me see here. Window, pull that up just to go through, and then let's make it a little bigger so people could see it. Go through some Cam Ward trades here. Cam Ward for Travis Kelce and Najee Harris, 12 team start, 10 full PPR. If I could unload those two types of assets,
Cam Ward.
give me Cam Ward.
Yep.
Let's see. There's a lot of pieces in that one. Let's skip.
That one's good.
Yeah, Cam Ward and Isaiah Davis for George Kittle in a second. 12 team start, 11 full PPR, extra half point for tight end.
Rebuild, I go Cam Ward.
Same, with it being half point.
Cam Ward and Garrett Wilson for Marvin Harrison, Jalen Lane, and Bryce Young. 12 team start, 12 full PPR.
Take the Marv side with Bryce.
I think I'll go Marv too.
Really?
I kind of like Bryce, man. He's kind of grown on me, to be honest. Bryce has grown. Sorry. Shouldn't have said that. Yeah. Sorry. That was just funny to me. I thought it was great. It's all good.
No, I thought that was good. I mean, not as good as my humor, obviously. Cam Ward and Tucker Kraft for Saquon Barkley.
Oh, Saquon.
Saquon, unless
a fair amount.
Yeah.
Anything involving, like, if I could use Cam Ward to tier up into a Lamar Jackson in this situation, but a Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, like, you have to assume that you feel at least somewhat comfortable with your team. If you're adding your next 2 first-round picks, this is the type of move I'm looking to make if I have a Cam Ward.
Agreed.
Especially if you're in a situation where it's like the quarterback market is fairly tight in my league. Cam Ward is my quarterback 2 on the roster. That could get a little slippery here in his rookie season. So, yeah, I certainly would love to do that, moving things around here. Here we go. Do we think a year from today, Mitch, do we think Jackson Dart and Cam Ward, how much value separates the two? And for reference, today on Fantasy Calc, Cam Ward is quarterback 17. Jackson Dart's quarterback 24.
Yeah. So I'm just going to look at this NFL wise. I think there's a much greater chance Cam Ward at least keeps his head coach going into next year. So I think he'll probably be valued higher, because I think there's a pretty strong chance the Giants have a new head coach. Then you go into that, well, do they even like Jackson Dart? Then you get in that whole thing, or maybe, the coaching staff has to work with Jackson Dart. We know that stuff doesn't work out that great all the time. And so for me, I'm just going to go Cam Ward's going to be valued more, because the Giants can just be absolutely terrible this year.
Yeah, it would take a lot to go right for the Giants. And, if they somehow fix things and yet you're connected to Malik Neighbors and Tennessee doesn't improve talent long term, Ridley's aging a bit. But overall, I'm with Mitch. There's more pluses there on that side for Tennessee and Ward.
Sorry, I'm just catching up on some in the comments here. What type of pivot opportunity do you think you might be looking to make? Let's say either you have Jackson Dart because he was at a place in a rookie draft that he just slipped and you were like, okay, I'll take the quarterback. So if you're pivoting off of Jackson Dart for Cam Ward or vice versa, like, what do you think it would take? What would interest you?
So here's what I would do in this situation. If I have them, I wait until Labor Day, week 1-ish. And I'm wanting to move these guys, right? I wait for that manager to come in because there's going to be one in every league who realizes that he has done nothing all year, but he's paid for this season. So he's like, you know what? I want to rebuild. And then all of a sudden he's going to move like a Baker Mayfield. He's like, Baker Mayfield, you give me Jackson Dart or Cam Ward, whatever. And then that's how you get that trade done. So I think just waiting a little bit and waiting for that manager, we've all seen it before. And you got to strike early because that whole team will be blown up in 2 hours and you'll miss out, if you choose to golf, actually have fun with your life. You could miss out on that stuff.
It always blows my mind whenever there's people that do things. I'm like, what do you mean you have other hobbies? I don't get it. Here's a good question from CC. Dart plus a 26 first gets you what? And let's say for this exercise, 12-team super flex, just typical start 10, and it is +6 -2 scoring.
So let me just say, I think Purdy is valued way too low because Fantasy Calc has him as quarterback 16. To me, I think he's going to be a lot higher than that. So if I could move a 26 first and Dart and get Purdy, I would personally do that. But that's the kind of one I'm going for.
Would you do it for Goff?
No, he's too old. Give me one of the quarterbacks that's 25, 26, 27.
Penix? I know you don't like Penix.
No, God, no.
Did you see the blurb today that he's going to use his legs more?
Well, that's good. It's going to work out great for him.
Dan, where are you? 30. He's only 30, Mitch, and he's on your Lions. Baker's 30.
Oh, Dan is defending the age here.
Like with quarterbacks age a little bit differently. If we were 35 and up, I'd be getting a little leery. But at age 30
he won't
in Dynasty,
be 31. He won't be 31
years.
next year.
You have 5 good years of Goff coming up.
Goff is too old.
He's too old for me to move a rookie and a pick. That's kind of how I'm looking at it. Because I think there's just other guys you can get. We should do a quarterback show. Because I'm like, Bo Nix is way too high. He just is. That's all right, though. That's a show for another day.
Yeah, I think we could do a quarterback show here soon.
We should. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So, I would try. I mean, I don't think you get a Purdy. I mean, it's
Bryce
probably
Young.
I wouldn't do it for Bryce.
Well, Purdy's a good one, I think.
Fair.
It's weird because it's in that range of not enough to get where I want to be.
Exactly.
But
yeah, you're not getting a Herbert.
No, but I can probably get Dak for close to just the pick in some situations.
Exactly. Just trade your 26 first and get Dak.
So why not
Yep.
just do that? Yeah, if there's any opportunity to pivot off of Dart for a 27 first, yes.
Yep.
Like that. Love the call. Absolutely. Let's see. That's exactly it, Cody. We're talking a bunch of quarterbacks who aren't worth more than a first alone. That's kind of where I am. It's I'm not going to add to get these guys where I know the market in general, it's not there. Even Dan is on the 27 first now.
It's got to come to the dark side. It's rare.
So, and that's going to be the looming thing in the back of people's minds. Like Jackson Dart, it's going to be an interesting dynamic because he's not going to start week 1. He's going to get an opportunity eventually, right? But we all know, or at least assume it's going to happen. So then it's like, when it does happen, is anybody truly going to be going out and trying to acquire based on this new information that's assumed information at this point? And then once the offseason hits, if they're going through a new coaching staff, that's going to be in the back of people's minds. I'm not looking to acquire Dart because of this big question mark, and that's going to be something that is going to definitely hinder his value unless they're just a surprise team. And, it could happen.
Yeah.
It could.
That defense is going to lead the way.
Did you see this video today?
Yeah, that was a great
Why
throw.
are we pivoting off of Dart? He's hitting jet skis and training camp hasn't started. The dude fell off the jet ski, right? Or whatever it was.
Yeah.
That was cool.
On the catch, he fell off. Yep.
Yeah. Very quickly now to talk about tight ends as we wrap this up. Who's going to be the rookie tight end 1 this season? And will any of the rookie tight ends separate themselves from the rest of like the tight end 8 to 20 pack? So like, do Loveland, Warren, Harold Fannin, do any of these guys hit that upper tier there?
If they don't get signed, no. But man, I think it's gonna be tough for any of them. If I was to take a bet on talent and just going with the guys I liked come, rookie drafts, it'd be Mason Taylor would be the one guy that would, that later tier that could hop up. But Tyler Warren's my number 1 by far. Not by far. It's really close to Colston Loveland. I think those two guys are awesome. Right after your boy Laporta, Mitch, I have Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland. Warren 5.
Yeah. So I thought you were going to go Mason Taylor. I'm like, we picked the same guy. There is just no one to pass to with the Jets. I mean, they have Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson was just extended.
Yeah.
Like, is Justin Fields going to generate enough volume to make Mason Taylor?
It's a tight end, man. He only needs to get like 600 yards as a rookie. Then all of a sudden, he's tight end 7. So it's not going to take a lot. And it's not that I don't love the other guys. I think Mason Taylor, if he signs his contract, get that done. But I think he has the best chance to probably get to, the 60 catch, 600 yard mark compared to what the other guys are going to have to deal with. And, we'll see. We see Keegan here in the chat. He goes, Mason Taylor hype is crazy. Fields is awful. What did Cole Kmet do with Fields, though? Like, Fields isn't an absolute terrible starter. Is he a good starter? No. Can he at least run an NFL offense? I think odds are pretty decent that the Bears were the issue more so than anything else, in my opinion.
I don't see how the Jets do not sign Amari Cooper or Keenan Allen. Like, they are literally relying on Josh Reynolds, Alan Lazard.
Exactly,
I mentioned
right?
Arian Smith, like half confident.
Yeah.
Like, that is a bad wide receiver crew there after Garrett Wilson, man.
Yep.
So Mason Taylor, the opportunity's there, to have a decent year, and he is talented.
Yep.
I'm just looking at some of the other rookie tight ends, and again, it's a July episode, boys.
Yeah, that's right.
Because when we look back and we're looking at these tight ends, and it's like, well, they all average 5 to 7 points per game.
Exactly.
And it's like, all right.
Yep.
Just again, scrolling through the comments here. Do we think there's any chance Kmet still could get moved?
Sure.
I'm trying to wish cast it out there.
I mean, I would love to see him moved, Meyer moved, but it's probably not going to happen.
The thing is, the teams have to have a number 3 tight end or kind of a reason to move them. Like, if
I don't care what these teams need. These teams need. I care about fantasy points, Dan.
Yep, exactly.
I know you are speaking on behalf of your dynasty shares, JB, and bless you. I know this is a tough time, and I will respect you and your family's wishes. But Loveland's a rookie. He's coming in with that little bit of a shoulder dinged up. Like, I think they're happy to run 2 tight end sets with Kmet as the second tight end. I don't think there's a chance on earth, buddy. I apologize.
When we look at the tight ends, I don't
No.
care about them too much, especially for this year. I
Yeah,
hope I'm
I
wrong. I hope a ton of them generate a ton of fantasy points, but I don't care. I don't care
Yeah.
about them, and
Yeah, I get it. That's why
Arroyo's
one small question.
Arroyo's a little bit interesting too. If we think Cooper Kupp's washed and we know MVS and they're a little bit thin as well, and they're talking about using him as a tight end and a receiver. There's a tight end situation on a team that I think if anyone's going to move a tight end, it would be them and Noah Fant, because I think AJ Barner's decent. He's more of a number 2, but so Arroyo and AJ Barner move Noah Fant. I could see that.
I think Barner's like a solid real life tight end.
Yeah, he'll
Like,
stay around for 12 years. Yeah.
Am I trying to go out and get AJ Barner? No, but
I don't
anyway,
want him on my teams.
Enough tight end talk. As you can see, I don't want to talk about tight ends. So for the 299th time, gentlemen, Dan, final thoughts. What do you got for our fantastic DD fantasy football listeners?
Math was never my favorite subject, but it's all about the numbers tonight. I think we're 1 day to training camp. Hopefully we get these second rounders signed. 17 days to DFS preseason. That's when the addiction really starts, boys. 52 days into week 1. We keep these countdowns going, and we are 1 week from episode number 300. Seriously, tell us what you want next week. I can't wait. It's going to be a fun episode.
Dan might give away a what do they call it, a labubu, or my whole Instagram, like my algorithm now, because Dan brought this up a couple episodes ago. Is that what it is, labubu?
Yeah, you're on.
I sent him a reel of apparently labubus are possessed. So of course I had to tag him in it. But now like my algorithm's like, this dude loves labubus. So we're gonna put him in there.
I show that to my son. He's like, "Oh, come on, we got to show that to my sister." I was like, "No, man, you just can't. She won't sleep at night, But we had a laugh, JB.
All right. Anyway, Mitch, final thoughts for the 299th time. What do you got?
All I have is I just want to thank the chat. The chat was awesome. They definitely kept the show going. These shows are rough in mid-July. You're trying to find content, you're talking about stuff, but the chat is what keeps this show alive and what keeps it going. So I just want to say thanks to everyone that was in the chat the whole time.
Make sure you like the episode, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for some reason. Check out ddfantasyfootball.com. Use code THEORY, get 50% off your first month. You have the War Machine, the Trinity Tool, my cross-positional tiers, and the DD Fantasy Football Discord community. Come check it out. For Mitch Sorensen, Dan Lamagna, I'm John Bauer. We'll catch everybody next week. Peace.